Hello, I'm Lauren Weinberg. I am a psychologist turned empowerment and well-being coach, and I call myself the Becoming Coach.
Hi, and I'm Melanie McLeod, and I am a certified professional coach and empowerment coach, and I specialize in spiritual business coaching. And welcome to Talking Transformation Live.
Where it will always be real talk in real time for real people because we're real people and you're real people. It's always unscripted and fresh and new conversation. So, how are you, Melanie?
I'm doing great, Lauren. How are you doing?
I am doing so well. You were just saying it is a beautiful day.
It is. The sun is shining through the windows, and I'm just happy to be here.
Well, me too. And for those who don't know us, we'll share a little bit about us that Melanie and I met online during COVID and we worked together and we were in a group together. And it turns out we live 5 minutes away from each other. And we didn't know that, I think, for 2 years.
That's true. That's true. We
So
have
a beautiful day for you is a beautiful day for me too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Lauren, let's tell everyone what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, this is such a good topic. Today we're going to talk about failure. And when I was writing the show notes, I thought, does it mean what you think it means? Right? So I'm going to jump into this topic that I think for a lot of people is really a very heavy and emotional topic, but we want to maybe put a different, well, at least I do. So we were
I,
just
I
saying we
do
don't know
too.
what we bring to the conversation, but there's
Absolutely,
a different way to look at it.
absolutely, there is, and failure means different things for different people. I think that people automatically assume that failure is a bad thing, but there are some people who keep themselves in failure because they're comfortable with it. So failure means different things to different people. So one of the things that I think is that I want to bring up for myself is that I really don't think there is any such thing as failure, because if I didn't do something the way I wanted to do it, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. What did I learn from it? Okay, because I probably learned so much that's going to keep me from doing it that same way, which means I'm going to do it better the next time. So thank you. I learned something. It's a lesson, and it's part of growth.
Absolutely. My one of my favorite expressions is you either win or you learn, there is no lose. Because that's a mindset. You know that if something doesn't turn out the way that you had hoped that it turned out, that it means that you've lost something, that you failed and you've lost something. But you know that it takes most entrepreneurs an average of starting 7 businesses before they find one that sticks and works. And what they've been doing along the way is learning from the businesses that didn't work out the way they had hoped, so that they're taking all of that learning and wrapping it up into doing it better the next time.
Absolutely. I remember when my first business wasn't doing so well, the economy was changing many, 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 many years ago. And I was really down on myself. And I did some research and I saw that Walt Disney had filed for bankruptcy 4 times. And I was like, oh, well, okay.
Okay.
If this doesn't work out, I'm not, that's not a bad, look at all these successful people and what they went through. And hopefully I won't have to go through that, but I'm not a failure. And even if I do fail at this, it doesn't define me. And if anything, it's a learning lesson and experience. And if you did everything well all the time, what would that look like? I mean, it would be like boring. You wouldn't have any appreciation for success because you wouldn't even know what it looks like. So, failure is an opportunity for you to learn and to grow always.
So I remember that skiing analogy. You know, people always say, like, if you don't fall down when you're skiing, then you're not trying hard enough, right? And it's sort of like that in life too, right? That if like growth, and we've talked about this on this show, that growth and learning happens at the edge of your comfort zone. And when you're at the edge, that's something new, right? That's new information that you're getting, that's new experiences that you're having. You're going to try things. Not everything's going to work out. And that's just information.
Yeah.
You can take the judgment completely out of it. It is just information to be gleaned on what works, what doesn't work, what you could do better. So if something didn't work out, it's the thing that didn't work out. It's not you as a person
Absolutely.
that
And
failed.
one of the things that I love to talk about is when you look at levels, and when we get comfortable at one level, or we really do well at one level, we don't realize that there's something beyond that. There's more than that. And so you get, for example, high school kids, and they may be a premier athlete at their school. They're a top jock, and then they get recruited, and they get recruited into a school where they've recruited all the top jocks from all over the country. And so now they're not top anymore, and they don't know what to do with themselves, because now they've got to work themselves up through a whole nother level that they didn't even know existed, because they were always the best.
Yeah. And before we go any further into this conversation, I want to talk about that. I want to come back to that. But I just want to say, is anybody out there? If anybody has joined us live, we would love for you to drop a note in the chat. Say hello. Please let us know that you're here. And let us know, like, have you had experiences that you felt were failed experiences? Or have you ever felt like a failure? And what is the difference for you? And what have you learned from those experiences that didn't work out? So, yeah, Melanie, I think that was a great point that you made. And I think that when you suddenly find yourself, you had been at the top and you suddenly, had plateaued at the top and you're suddenly at this next level, that's when your mindset, I think, really comes in and can help you, right? Some people hit that next level where they see that, wait a minute, I'm not at the top anymore of this next level. It's a choice at that point. Do you maybe try, and because it's harder or you feel that you're failing, do you give up? Or do you say, wait a minute, let me regroup, let me learn from the difficult experiences that I'm having and push through that? Because I know I used to be on top, I can get on top again.
Yes. And I think that that's the difference between your really, really successful people. Because, I've done a lot of research on successful people, and every one of them can tell you about things that they've done in their life that they just fell flat on their face, and they look at it today, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I learned how to get up. One quick thing is, Les Brown used to always say, we're all going to fall, but if I can see up, I can get up. And that was always meant a lot to me. It's okay to fall down as long as you can get up. And if you can see up, you can get up.
Absolutely. Um, I love that quote. It's a fantastic quote. And I have completely forgotten what I was going to say. So what else have you?
Then that's okay.
I just failed. Wait a minute. Did I just fail? What did I learn from that? It's okay, and that, I think that's a part of it too, that we're worried about what other people think. And I think that's where maybe separating what something that didn't work out from feeling like a failure. When you get, and we come back to this all the time, when you get wrapped up in the concern of how other people are judging you,
Yeah.
that's when you can kind of fall into that pit of feeling like a failure. You're only worried about feeling like a failure because of that fear of judgment.
And there's the thing. And I think that number one, you're judging yourself. And that's the first thing.
Totally.
And once you can take away that personal judgment of yourself, one of the things that I think even you have helped me with is the fact that some of us are very independent, and we feel like we if we ask someone for help, that makes us feel like a failure, that we needed somebody to tell us, and we shouldn't, especially when we're coaches and teachers. We're used to being the one that has to have the answers,
Right.
and we have to be able to take care of people and give them what they need, and motivate them and encourage them and inspire them. How dare us need help? So I think that it's the most important lessons that I've learned is that I don't know everything, and I can't figure everything out all by myself. And that's why we all need each other. And there are so many things that, I'm good at, but there are so many things that I'm not good at. Doesn't mean I can't get good at it, but for some things, I'm going to need support to get good at it. And I think that you grow in being able to know when you need to ask for help.
Oh my God, there was that great line from My Cousin Vinny, still one of the funniest movies ever, where Marissa Tomei says at the end of the movie, what if you become a famous lawyer and you needed somebody's help to do it along the way? What a nightmare. She was a little more explicit than that. Right? So she was teasing her partner, saying, you might just always need somebody's help, and that's okay. That does not make you a failure either, right? That's also learning. That's
It
a
makes you
learning
smart.
opportunity. That right, and to know where your limits are, when to ask for help, how
Yeah.
to ask for help. That's a skill to be learned in and of itself.
And I would say that most people would probably, whatever it is they failed at, would not have failed if they would have simply said, hey, I need some help here.
I need
Like
some
even
help.
with businesses, sometimes, people will come for help after it's too late. It's a situation where, you know, the business is completely failing. They're in for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then it's like, oh, can you help me? No, let me help you at the beginning so that you put everything in place so that you won't get to that point. That's where you need the help.
Or
Yeah,
when you realize that things are starting to go awry.
immediately.
And, a lot of times we realize things are not going as planned, and that embarrasses us again
Yeah.
because we're over identifying with who that makes us instead of just what's going on. Right? Again, it's getting caught up in that judgment. And what you said is true. I think when we stop judging ourselves, we stop worrying about other people's judgment.
I'm telling,
Right?
it's so important. And if people could just admit that they don't know what they don't know, then somebody can help you. And it's sad for me as a business coach when I get people who come to me after they've made some lethal decisions that I can't pull them out of. And if they would have just simply asked for help before they signed something, it's like I had a situation one time where, a woman leases. You have to be really careful in business. Some landlords will put in the lease that you're going to pay for all their taxes. You're going to pay for any improvements on the property. They can put anything they want in that contract. If you sign it, you've agreed to it. And this woman comes to me saying, they're coming after me, telling me I owe this man's taxes and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, did you sign it? Well, yeah. Why did you sign it? Because I really wanted the place. Yeah, but you needed to talk to a business coach or a lawyer before you signed it, because once you sign it, nobody can help you. So you didn't want to feel stupid. You didn't want to feel like a failure. You wanted to prove that you could do everything all by yourself. And now you're going to lose your shirt and nobody can help you.
Well, it's funny. It circles back to something you and I both help people with, which is feeling empowered. And feeling like, to me, feeling empowered is feeling like you are deserving and you give yourself permission. And a lot of times people don't feel deserving or that they have permission to question somebody that they see in like an authoritative position. And I think that that could also lead to a situation that doesn't turn out the way that you had hoped, right? Which you could say failed or didn't work out because of that lack of sense of volition for yourself, that you have a right to ask questions, you have a right to speak up when something doesn't look right to you, you have a right to trust your gut. And it's learning to trust yourself, to speak up, to advocate on your behalf, that helps you to truly feel empowered.
Absolutely.
And I think that failure, going through experiences that have failed, I'm doing air quotes for those who can't see us, but going through those can be very empowering because, like you said, we learn from that, right? As we've discussed, you learn from that, you take things away from that, and next, sometimes it's not what you should do, but what you shouldn't do and what you don't want to do. Sometimes you just find out something wasn't for you. And one of the mindset tricks that I find so helpful when you're in a difficult situation is to think, how did this happen for you and not to you?
I love that. I love the for you and not to you because all my failures have been gifts to me. I
Yeah.
don't look at any of them as a failure. They're all the things that have put me to where I'm at today. Those experiences allowed me to gain the knowledge and understanding that I have now. If I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't have the knowledge I have now. I learned from every experience that I had, I gained. And I'm grateful for my failures because now I thoroughly enjoy my successes and I earned my successes. And I earned them from those experiences. They helped me to know that yeah, I'm not there yet. I still have a lot to learn. And what did I
Yeah.
learn from that?
And you learn about yourself. Like it's just as valid to realize what you don't enjoy as what you do enjoy. What aren't your strengths and what are your strengths? It's all part of the laboratory, the learning laboratory that is our lives. And I think if you look at these failed experiences as these growth opportunities, as happening for you and not to you, and taking the time to look for the lessons that are held there, then there is never a reason to feel like a failure. All you need to feel is like a learner, that you have learned and gained something from the experience.
I agree 100%. So with that, we're going to wrap up, and we would love to hear from any of you. If you're listening to this as a recording, feel free to add something to the comment section. Again, we want to just continue to encourage no dialogue. That I know that you all have thoughts and opinions on this, and let your voice be heard. So
Absolutely.
so if you'd like to be in touch with us, you can email us on talkingtransformationlive@gmail.com, or you can contact us on either of our websites. Lauren's is lastingchangewellness.com and mine is coachusolutions.com.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know next Monday is a holiday and we will not be here live, but we look forward to coming back together again on the 12th. So don't forget, please join us live Mondays at 5 Eastern. We would love to have you as part of the conversation, and drop a comment, subscribe, share our show. We would really appreciate that, and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. See you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.